People are freaking out. People don't know what to do next. People are buying decks, are selling their decks, are stopping playing Vanguard, are playing Vanguard again. Well, welcome to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Mana, and you can call me D-Boy. I'm here for you guys with a new series. It's crazy, game changing. That's the name of the series. We first start with what it is, how does it work, and how does it change the game, the good thing about it, the bad thing about it, and then my opinion. So today's episode would talk about the new G guarding. So the new era, the new thing that we have right now, and or will come out um, for Cardfight Vanguard is the G Guardians. Well, the G Guardians, what it is, it's cards in your G zone, so just normal G units that have shield, 15k shield. How does it work? Well, you need to be at grade 3, your opponent need to be at grade 3, so normal like when you stride. You need to discard a heal trigger from your hand into the drop zone to get the G Guardian from your G zone into your Guardian circle. Um, from there, you'd guard the attack with the you'd still could intercept or put cards from your hand. At the end of the attack, the G unit would go back into your extra deck face up. So it does help with your GB skills. Also, you can't play more than 4 because as the conditions say that, as I said, you need to have a heal trigger in your hand to discard to use for the G zone. Also, you need to have 3 or less face-up cards in your G zone, G Guardians in your G zone. So 3 or less face-up G Guardians in your G zone. That means that you can only play 4 G Guardians with the same skill. You could also, maybe in the future, we would get G Guardians with more than 15k shield, or G Guardians would have a skill like retire something, or throw a card, or maybe perfect guard. We don't know yet. I think that Bushiroad would make something like that. Uh, it's just a new mechanic, and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, that's the conditions to play it. So how does it work? Um, so the good thing about it and the bad thing about it. Well, first, the good thing is that now you can guard against attacks which prevent you from guarding with grade zeros. So, or you could also guard with one heal trigger for 15k shield, because the unit that you call is 15k shield. Second good thing is that it helps with your G zone face up. So when you have a skill which is GB1, you can make it active by G guarding, so then you have a GB1. If you G guard twice, then you would have a GB2 active. The bad thing about it is that you can now abuse cards like Root Flare Dragon, because when you go into grade 3 first, you attack, you have the Twin Drive, your opponent would go into the grade 3, they stride, and then when they attack you, you can G zone G guard attack, G guard defense, so the G Guardians would come to defend the attack, and then you would have one face-up cards in your G zone. That means that when it's your turn again, your first stride could be Root Flare Dragon on the first turn that you stride, and you destroy a whole column. So I think that's too much. Having the ability to stride for the first stride or the second stride, and you would, let's say the first stride that you go into is the one with the GB2 skill, is a bit too much. So I don't really appreciate that the cards go into your G zone face up, that they have the GB1 active. No, I don't really appreciate that. One more bad thing about it is that when you're playing with Oracle Think Tank, normally you have a Silent Dome. The Silent Dome is boosted by Gemini, attack for 16. Your opponent grade zeros are useless. So you attack with the Vanguard first, they perfect guard that attack, and from there you would give, or the, let's say you get a critical trigger, you get the critical and the 5k into your Silent Tome. The Silent Tome would attack for 21 with the critical, so 2 criticals for 21, and now you just discard a heal trigger to get a G Guardian, and the G Guardian would stop that attack with a heal trigger, with a grade 0. Well, yeah, I think that that is not good for Orca Pink Tank players, because normally that was your winning condition and they need to discard a second perfect guard to guard that attack, but now they can just discard a heal trigger to stop that attack. It's the same for me when I play Spike Brothers. My Frozen Ogles would attack for 24 by themselves, unboosted, so your opponent would have to discard 2 cards to stop that attack, or discard an intercept. But now they just can discard a heal trigger, so 1 card from their hand. They lose only 1 card to stop your attack. So it's the same as having a trigger on your Vanguard, the extra 5k. So yeah, one more thing is that with the new mechanic of having G-Zones, G-Guardians, you can now have 16 cards in your G-Zone. So 16 cards in your G-Zone means when, well, let's talk about the good thing about it. The good thing about having 16 cards in your G-Zone is that we will see old units, old G units, back into play, because some decks, like let's say Gear Chronicle, have so many G zones that you can G units that they can choose from, and now they play 8, and because you have only 8, you can't really play old G units, or G units that are not that good as the one that you already play. But they are good in some situations, but you don't know if you're getting that situation, so you don't play them. But now you can, because you have the space in your G-Zone to play them. So that's a good thing. I love seeing units back that are not played that much. I love seeing people make their own deck. The bad thing about it is that the price of the deck will go up, because now you have more G zones. Now you have to play, let's say in Link Joker, more Amnesty, more Chaos Breakers, more Big Crunches, because you have the space to. So you play 4 Chaos Breaker, 4 Big Crunch, 4 Amnesty, and maybe play 4 G Guardians, and the price of the deck will go. Yeah, it's too much. 16 cards in your G zone is too much. One more thing is that for decks like, let's say, Link Joker, or especially, or even Aqua Force, but especially Gear Chronicle, those decks would have advantage because they have different cards that they could play in their G zone. But let's take Mega Colony or Spike Brothers. They have so little cards that they can choose from in their G zone that it doesn't really make any difference that they have now that they could play 16 cards. So you're giving some decks an advantage, and others you're just giving them nothing. Um, Also, for some decks was the winning condition that when they run out of units that they could stride into, then you could win. But now, because they have 16 cards in their G zone, then you can't really stall until they lose all the G zones units. So that is a bad thing. So yeah, my opinion about the 16 cards in the G zone is that the number 16 is too high. They should have, or they could have, uh, choose for 8 plus 4, which means you play the normal 8 cards plus the 4 G Guardians. It make the same amount of cards. Um, but maybe they thought about making in the future, making more Chi Guardians than they could guard with. From there you have 8 cards that you could play and 8 cards that you could guard with in your G zone. But I don't think that people would play it like that. Um, they would if they divide the G zone. Like, you can only have 4 cards that you could strike into and 4 cards that you could defend with. Then I mean 8. Then it could be possible, but it's not like that. So I think it should have been 12 or even 10, because having to cut some G units out to play the G Guardians is very good, because then people would have to choose. But playing 16 cards, so you have 4 more normal G units that you could play in your G zone, it's too much. So yeah, that's what I think about the new mechanic. That's what this episode is all about. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I would love to see a video from our different YouTubers about what they think about the new G mechanic, what they think about the GB2 on the first turn. If I got it right, because this is my first video on this, and this is also the first time I saw this. I even didn't really see it in action, but I don't think that you can see it in action yet, maybe in the anime, but still, I think it's pretty interesting that you can guard with your G units, which are made to guard with, but on the other hand, I think that having 16 cards in your G zone is a bit too much. Um, because that you have advantage in some decks and it's a disadvantage for others, because you don't really have that amount of units that you could play, and playing Crane Elementals would be pretty good, but we do need Crane Elementals which are good, and when we have Crane Elementals with a very strong skill, then those Crane Elementals would be played in every deck, and the price of that card would go up and it would be overplayed, so we don't really want to see that. So the only thing that I would love if they changed about the G guarding and the 16 cards is that you have 16 cards in your G zone, and I think that 12 was the right number, and now because it's 16, it's 4 card more, and maybe 6 card more, or even 8 cards more for the normal G units that you could play. So thanks for watching, and till next episode.